means a lot going back to Pocono and got that trophy at home. That's pretty big centerpiece for us. So it's definitely look back on the day, and win's always a win. It's always really important and big to you, but yeah, it was unfortunate that we didn't get to celebrate properly. Pocono has such a unique victory lane there. And weren't able to celebrate with the team on the front stretch. It really was a very strange um, hour and a half waiting it out. Seeing pit road completely empty, toolboxes all folded up and covered up. Uh, you know, half of the haulers were already out by the time we left victory lane. It was very strange to me, especially looking at radar. We knew it was over about an hour before it was actually called. So just a long day. It definitely made it to where having to take shelter in the alternate victory lane in the garage is definitely a different experience. But still a big win in our rookie season. Put us in the playoffs, which was big for Front Row Motorsports and everybody that year. Had a lot of fun that season. So you go back to Pocono, it's just a track that's very unique with three different corners. We focus on different things, right? And for us, it's a big challenge, and it's one of the reasons I like is kind of like road racing to me. It's different, and it makes you focus on different things. So hopefully we can be competitive when we get there. We were pretty good last year. I made a mistake, and it was one of the several that spun off turn 4. Didn't hit anything, but just spun late in the day and really got us behind when didn't need to. So looking to be a little better this go around.
I'm curious, after every race if you don't win, now considering your point situation, are you looking and seeing if it's a new winner, and when it's somebody who's already won before, is there any part of you that like breathes a sigh of relief?
Yeah, I guess I hate points racing. I hate it so I hate to sit there and think about what do we do about our point scenario during a race when you want to figure out how to win it and want to take that chance. And uh, again, the mindset of has always been if you go and have a successful weekend, that's going to come with stage points. That's going to come with end of race points. It takes care of itself. That being said, we weren't quite good enough to capture stage points, and so come down to the end of the race and get done flustered with one of the cautions and losing a bunch of spots under caution yet again for the third week in a row, and get done at the end of the race and kind of upset for other reasons, and then you look up and realize it is a repeat winner. So yeah, in a way, it does help you get that little bit of side of that, not in a different kind of hole as we head into these last handful of races. So it's inevitable. We're going to have some new winners before we get to the playoffs. We just got to make sure it's one or two of them's us.
And if both you and Brad make the playoffs, would you consider that a successful season, no matter what happens in the playoffs?
No, not no matter what. I think that we're we're in a good spot in points, and as of right now would be in the playoffs, and that's one of the goals on the season. But the goals were to win races, make the playoffs, and drive through the playoffs. And realizing that we've got some work to do to sit here and say that we'll be lifting a trophy in Phoenix. Like we're not quite there yet, but we're definitely making good progress. But also understanding that we're not just trying to get there to fill a spot. We need to be competitive to be able to get through it. Feel like when we look at the schedule, there's a lot of really good racetracks for us as an organization once we do get into the playoffs, and even ones that we look at right now heading into them that we should be able to drive into the playoffs and work our way through it. So it's the long-winded answer for no. It's not if we make the playoffs, check, we're good, everyone's happy with the season. Gotta stay working and be able to show something in the playoffs as well.
Is there any sense of, man, we know if we can get to the playoffs, you won the Bristol night race last year. Like if you can get there, you can do something in it.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was alluding to, right? Is we've got really good racetracks for us in the playoffs. So and coming up to them as well. So, yeah, I mean, I'm of the mindset that if we can keep what we've been doing and be solid, obviously wanted to have a checkered flag by now, and surely would help a lot of our situation towards trying to win races and getting the points that come with that. Then, when we get in the playoffs and everything resets, yes, so I look at the races that are there and definitely look at good opportunities for us to win a race in the playoffs as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll go to John Newby next.
Thank you. Chris, I was wondering if you could shine some light on how, now that you're in your second full season with Brad, how that collaborative, how that relationship has grown, especially with you both, being above the cut line.
Yeah, so right now it feels really good, right? Because you have a little bit of a warm fuzzy feeling on that side of things. But take away the cut line and everything coming up in the next couple of weeks and kind of take the season as a whole, we have been considerably more competitive this season every week. And it doesn't matter what kind of racetrack we're at. And to me, that's been a huge success story for us internally. And it's not, like I said, it's not completely there yet, but we're not talking about RFK only at super speedways, right? We're able to go to short tracks. We're able to go to super speedways, road courses. Our 1.5-mile cars have come a long way. We're competitive at a lot of different styles of racetracks right now. Looking for a little step yet to be even more competitive, but I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that a lot of what Brad's come over here and really instilled within these walls. It's been neat to see the people that have been at RFK, a decade longer than I have at this point, to see them excited and rejuvenated and really enjoying the progression that we've had over the last 18 months as well. So take all that into account. We're on a good upswing. We're in a good place. And I think we owe that to a lot of different things, but Brad has surely been a big part of it coming over, and have really been able to me personally, be able to lean into him on some of these different styles of racetracks where I've needed more help. And some of that super speedway racing and a little bit of how we go about it. A lot of it's been Richmond, Phoenix style racetracks that haven't been my strongest through the years, that have been able to get some direction and kind of refocus what my big efforts or big complaints would be through a weekend to try and work on being better there. So yeah, it's surely come a long way and it's continuing to get better, but it's been a really good thing, and we're definitely enjoying it. Just can't slow down now. Everybody everybody's got to keep going. Nobody else that we're racing in this garage is sitting still. Even the ones that are winning, they're not content with where they're at. So we just got to keep working hard.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well,
We'll go to Kelly Crandall next.
Thank you. Chris, Elton Sawyer said on SiriusXM that NASCAR is going to send out, in his words, a stern communication this week about drivers in all three series needing to clean up restarts. They haven't really been happy with people laying back, and just what we saw in the Xfinity race at New Hampshire. I don't know if you all have gotten that yet, but I did want to ask, what's been your thoughts? Has anything stood out on restarts lately in terms of people maybe getting a little sloppy and things needing to be cleaned up more?
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I haven't gotten that communication yet, and I hadn't heard those rumblings, but it would surely be appreciated. I feel like it's been such a gray area through the years. And it seems like this conversation has to come up every year at some point, that somebody started laying back more and setting up and dive bombing into turn one. It's just creating messy restarts, and it's just not the sportsmanship that we're after. So yeah, I would surely appreciate that coming about and getting cleaned up. It's so frustrating to be getting ready for a restart and looking back and seeing 3 car lengths behind you, knowing that you're going to have to figure out some way to defend that, and it's going to ultimately not set you up for an opportunity to go forward. You're going to be on defense. So, yeah, it seems like we have pretty decent group of repeat offenders, and nothing really seems to come of it other than we do get it this little warning, and it'll get cleaned up for a while, and by the end of the season we'll probably need that talking to again. So but yeah, that's surely appreciated from where I'm sitting.
It's kind of ironic that it comes out going into Pocono, right? Because everybody talks about how you all will fan out, and it's exciting to see the field go 3, 4, 5 wide into turn 1. Pocono restarts in particular, when you were just saying there about trying to defend, I mean, how chaotic is it at a place like Pocono? Does it feel like it's just a recipe for disaster? Does it feel like it's an accomplishment every time you make it through turn 1 on a restart?
Yeah, Kelly, in a way, and it's really not much different from Michigan. Pocono is probably the worst offender for it, but yeah, I mean, it obviously makes moves, and by statistics, it looks like Pocono has some of the most movement on restarts, but a lot of it is from from what happens in the restart zone, and or doesn't happen with cars not closing up. So yeah, I mean, it's just such a massive straightaway that it really leads to a lot of chaos down in turn 1, which we want passing opportunities, and if you get a good run legitimately, you hope to be able to use it. But typically when somebody's pulling out right at the start finish line, it's because they lag back and got to jump somewhere else. So yeah, it is good timing, because that is typically a track that it can be the worst, and we go into turn 1 5 wide. Your spotters are all the way down, almost off at turn 3. Can't really get a good visual looking at taillights, and it just makes it tough. So like I said, I mean, we want good racing, we want hard restarts, and you want opportunities to find different lanes. You just want it to come about the right way, and want it to come about from good moves, or a little bit of drafting by the end of the straightaway.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll go to Jim Utter next.
Thanks, Brandon. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Pretty good, thank you.
This is kind of a follow-up to John's question earlier. When we look at like improvement from the outside, people that are looking obviously at results, lap sled, things like that. I was wondering if you could quantify a little bit, just for like maybe from within the organization, how it's a different feel, or what the situation at RFK has been like in the transformation over the last couple of years.
Yeah, so we measure things a lot of the same ways, right? It's have we been a top 10 car by green flag average? Have we executed on pit road? Have we done a good job at picking the right lanes on restarts? We have more data than I can consume week in and week out, but what it does help us do is confirm the progression, and there's obviously the end results are a good comparison, and it's what means the most. But also we've had a lot of races too where we've been more competitive than we were in years past, and maybe not always getting the finish, but for the most part finishing much better than where we have as well. So there's a very obvious kind of progress report for us that everybody can look at. We have 2 large boards, one for each team, in our shop that everybody can see at any point. Hangs right over our setup plates, so that everyone knows we're not trying to hide anything, we're not trying to sugarcoat anything, that we are measuring our successes ourselves, and that's the only way to get better, is to understand where we're at and where we need to go. I would say that within the shop, I've been here not quite consecutively, but 15 years essentially at RFK, and have seen this place at some of its ultimate highs, and I would say its ultimate low as well. So the upswing, and seeing the people that have been here much longer than me, seeing everybody's attitude and kind of a little extra bounce in their step, seeing the progress, seeing where we're heading, and feeling like things are clicking. It means something to everybody, to the hundreds of people here. So it means a lot to me to be here and be working alongside Brad to kind of get that gradual swing and get it back heading in the right direction as well. Knowing that been a while since we've had a win anywhere other than super speedways, and being able to get that Bristol win last year was certainly special. For our goals this season, we have high goals, and it was to win races, make it into the playoffs, but also drive through the playoffs. And we haven't met those yet, and we don't have a way to say yay or nay on in the playoffs or through them. But we don't have that checkered flag yet either. We've been close at times, but we have have a couple things that just need to be cleaned up. But some of it's execution, some of it I needed to make better decisions inside the race car. Sometimes we needed faster race cars. We're all working really hard in this massive team sport to figure it out. But there's an obvious energy in the shop and very much insight into the fact that there's been massive progression in the last 18 months at this point.
And you've mentioned a couple times about, kind of being pigeonholed in the past about super speedway racing. What does it feel? What's the feeling like as a competitor and as an organization to have that feeling, to have that change, with the sense that you go every week with an expectation that you want to win, of course, but also that you should be competitive?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge confidence booster. I used to laugh at some of the momentum talks in our sport early on, and now I mock myself for laughing, because it's a real thing, and I've seen it more than not now. And when we're able to go to a gateway and be competitive, and then we're able to go to in Atlanta and be competitive, and go to Sonoma and be competitive, it just helps build, right? It brings that momentum with us week in, week out, knowing that we have a baseline that's been solid for us, that we can be competitive at all these places, knowing that we won't be in the hunt to win every week, and understanding that our sport really likes to kick you a little bit in that sense, that our dominant seasons are dominant seasons in our sport are a 75 to 80% losing streak. Knowing that we're capable of taking that momentum week in, week out, and knowing that we're in the hunt. So I mean, it's a momentum builder as much as anything, knowing that we don't have to get through a race and look 6 weeks ahead and say, this is the next one we have circled. We don't have anything circled as a specific race anymore. We are looking at every week as an opportunity for us to one, win races, or two, improve on the big progress that we've already made at that style of racetrack.
Thank you very much, Chris.
You're welcome.
We'll go to Lee Spencer next.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us, Chris. Just kind of curious, it was unfortunate about the weather and the fact that the short track test got rained out, but and not to take anything away from Martin Truex Jr.'s accomplishment, but we really need to see something where it seems like you guys can have a better opportunity to pass on short tracks. Away from the restarts, you're just not really seeing that side by side that we were accustomed to seeing. And I'm curious, if you could, be king of NASCAR for the day, what are you looking for in the short track package, short of horsepower? Because, clearly every driver will ask for horsepower, but, what do we really, what is it missing? What are we lacking? Because our season finale is at a track very similar to New Hampshire, short, flat, and I'm just kind of curious, what can we do to turn that package around?
I wish I had all those answers. So the obvious one, and I'll say it just for the fact of saying it, is horsepower would be great. I don't know if taking shifting out of it helps it or not. I feel like it probably would. Martinsville comes back to mind when you talk about shifting. It recovers any mistake made. You just downshift and drive back away. And in my mind, I feel like that's where we've lost Martinsville in a pretty big way. Loudon this past weekend, I thought the racing was okay. Was able to pass a lot of cars early, but whenever that fourth lane came in, especially over in 3 and 4, I'm assuming it was residual PJ1 because it had a tremendous amount of grip. To me, the racing just got ruined at that point, and everybody's fighting for that one lane up at the top, and it just made the bottom to where it didn't even have a chance in a lot of ways. So I know we didn't apply anything as an industry this go around at Loudon, so it had to be leftover, and we don't typically run that high, so it's probably just got up to where there was something left, and it just made a ton of grip. That's not the ultimate answer to our short track package, but I felt like that was what hurt the second half of Loudon. The test that was supposed to be there this week, I think there's a lot of opportunity for that to show up as progress for our package, and unfortunately we have to wait 2 more weeks to see it put into real world tests. So I don't know. I guess after that, I feel like I would have a better answer for you and maybe say that, look, we're on the right track, or no, this isn't going to do it. We're going to need something different. I would say in 2 weeks, I'll tell you that hopefully, yes, this was great. Now, if you'll just add 200 horsepower, we'll be even better. But I think that there's a lot of potential in what's coming, and a lot of optimism that can help us get a better product for everybody.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last but not least, Dustin Long, take us away.
Hey, thanks. Chris, you look at some of the drivers that have come in this season for the one-offs, Jordan Taylor, obviously Shane Van Gisbergen, you're going to see Kamui Kobayashi at Indy, Brody Kostecki, another Australian supercar guy at Indy, also seeing Kimi Räikkönen and Jenson Button. And I'm curious, from your perspective, I know you talk about, you guys can do well at any track, but obviously you've got a very good track record on the road courses. Do you pay more attention to these guys than you might have the ringers in the past? Are they bringing something different? Is it changing the game in a way? I mean, obviously I know Shane winning at Chicago, but what kind of an impact are they making, and are you having to pay more attention to them?
I would say before Chicago, it wouldn't have changed much, if anything. Knowing that we've had very good road course aces come into our sport and be competitive, but not be dominant. Shane coming into Chicago was probably an eye opener for a lot of people. Now, saying that, we had cars in the field that were very competitive with him still, so it's not that it's a complete reset. You took us to our first street race. Everybody's trying to get their legs up under them. There's starting in the rain in such event, no runoffs, and then obviously having the weepers over there in 10 to 11 the whole time. Like, a lot of us are sitting here trying to figure out what in the world's going on for the first time still. So that being said, they're obviously very talented. This car is more similar than it's ever been to some other series, and I think seems like the V8 Supercar is probably one that is closer than anything else. Maybe somewhat close to like a Trans Am car, if I'm not mistaken. There, the independent suspension, the braking, the weight of our car is obviously way up there as well, and I think that we got to pay attention because it is a big part, but it's also opportunity for us to learn as well. And we're going to keep working hard at it, and we've been very fast at different styles of road races, and we've been able to outrun some of the ringers coming in at a lot of different styles of racetracks. And I would argue that some of that's just our home field advantage at tracks that we've been to and know more. And we're going to keep after that. But we obviously, RFK as an organization was extremely fast at Indy last year. Neither of us got a checkered flag. Got a couple fire extinguishers to the face, but it's a track that we're very, very strong in. It had some, 2 of our cars had top 3 lap times on the day. So, we're looking at those places as good opportunities still, regardless of who's coming in and whose cars.
You referenced learning opportunities when you get the opportunity to race with these guys. Obviously, much was made out of Shane and how he uses his feet, obviously having the foot cam there. Is that something that you can adjust to, or is that something that's so different to ask you to be at 10/10s and changing something that's not something that can be done overnight, or something that really makes sense to do? Or is that something you're trying?
I'm not gonna try that, no. And I'd say that we've done some actually a Ford sponsored event that of all the Ford drivers went to for several years in the past, and we'd go drive Mustang GTs out in Utah, and you had to do that. You had to heel toe clutch, and man, we all looked like fishes out of water. It was ugly. We had brake smoke and guys missing the brake pedal, taking off, blowing through corners. It was a whole nother world. Now, granted, none of the pedal assembly is set up quite as nice as real race cars, but it was sloppy when we tried to do that. And it's definitely not something that be working on from my standpoint. And I don't know their situation if in the V8 Supercars, if they are required to do that. I know seems like a lot of guys that come from other series, that's just what they have to do, and so they continue to. And we don't have to in our cars. I don't know, just because it's different doesn't mean that was the key. Maybe it was just hard to really lean into a whole lot of data from that race, just with some of the issues we had as an industry there, to be able to dissect a lot of it. But I think that I'm not about to change what I'm doing in a drastic way like that, but I will surely study and see what we can't try and tune in while we're at the racetrack for the weekend.
And one last thing in regards, I know you referenced, and obviously Shane had a little bit more of an, I guess, advantage, and then most of these other guys when they come up and race you guys, because of the closer ties to the car, but also you used to street course racing, the conditions, and that was all new for you guys. What did you take away out of what Shane did? I know a lot was made of it. Was it as big as some people made? Was it bigger than what some people made? Or is there a middle ground in kind of having a realism to what he did, and from your perspective?
I would say I'm not going to take anything away from what he did. I'm not going to sit here and say we have to blow it up and change everything we do. He showed up to the racetrack and was extremely competitive, and just short of dominated a weekend, right? Very, very impressive feat. So it is something that we have to sit here and take note of, and study and try and understand, maybe, like I said, tweak on a few things. I don't think it requires just an up and over the top change of course. I think so. I think a decent amount of it comes from the fact that his experience level was higher in the environment. He was very good. He was very good, and I like I said, I want to make sure that it's not coming across. I don't want to take anything away from him, because we were very impressed with what he was able to do that day. So it's just about learning from it and seeing if there's more carryover from that street course to other road courses, or if we don't feel like there will be as much as possible.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You got it.
Thanks for joining us today, Chris, and good luck this weekend.
I appreciate it very much. We'll see y'all out there, and dry this time. Please just have a dry weekend, whatever y'all can do.